Damn, son. Damn. Teams are not playing around, mate. Barcola to Liverpool. Here we go. Whoo, I was out and about. I was minding my own business. It's literally 9 a.m. in the morning, getting ready to work. Went out to get some petrol. Went out to, gallivant. Rain, all over myself, as you can see on my shirt. I look at my phone and I see David Ornstein, a notification come through. And I'm thinking, hold up. What's going on here? Have Spurs bought another player? Have Spurs gone out in the market once again? No. I literally looked at my phone and it said, breaking news. Liverpool reach agreement in principle on terms of deal to sign Bradley Barcola from Paris Saint-Germain. Still details to finalize between LFC and PSG, but moving fast after breakthrough overnight on package of 120 million British sterling pounds. 100 million fixed. Damn, son. Goodness me. Liverpool. Listen, Liverpool fans that I know have been yappa on their mouth. Yappa. Oh, Spurs are spending this. Spurs are spending that. These guys, nobody's talking about them. 116 million for Wirtz. 130 million for Isak. They tried to pay 100 million for Diomande. They're now paying 100 million fixed for Barcola and 120 million all in. No excuses. No excuses. You had last season where you were rubbish. I mean, we were more rubbish. But still, you were rubbish. And now is the time to pay the piper. But in terms of, if I'm being objective, guys, listen, I love Barcola. I know people are saying he's overrated. I love the signing. I think the signing is incredible. For him to go to Liverpool in a year where Salah's gone, Slot is gone. I know Slot wasn't there enough to build an aura. However, he was still riding on the coattails of Klopp and that aura and Liverpool and all of, the Mane, Salah, all of that shebang. To go from a point where all these players and managers, etc., have left, and the only people, from those winning eras, the only players, Konate left as well. So the only players from that winning era being Agent Van Dijk, Alisson, etc., Gakpo, etc. That is a big club pool. That is a big club pool. You have to be honest. And Bradley Barcola is an absolute baller. He's a 1v1 demon. Demon is probably an understatement. His turn of pace from a static position to being gone past you is also something to behold. I really like him. I really like him. I think that it's understandable that he wanted to leave PSG because, PSG have absolute ballers on that front three. They've got Desiree Doué. They now got Ferran Torres, who, in my opinion, is actually underrated, an underrated striker, really good player. You got Kvaratskhelia that you're not gonna bench. You've got Dembele, Ballon d'Or, Ousmane Ballon d'Or. You're not gonna bench these lot. You ain't gonna bench them. So I have to say, he had to leave. He had to. I did think that he would have ended up in a place like Bayern, because in the end, even though Luis Diaz is a good player, I think Barcola trumps Luis Diaz from a footballing perspective. I think he trumps Luis Diaz. So I thought he would have gone to Bayern. I knew he wouldn't go to Barcelona because they had already bought Gordon, and he wouldn't go to Madrid because they had bought Diomande. They have Vini, they renewed Vini's contract. They have Mbappe. He wasn't going to any of these places. Then I thought maybe he might go to Arsenal because Arsenal are trying to offload Martinelli to Saudi for 65 million, which is absolutely criminal. They have to be investigated if they're able to do that. And this is a message to Martinelli: stay, right? Let them put some respect on your name. So I thought he was going to go to Arsenal, but I understand that maybe they're probably thinking, listen, we got Zolis, who is actually very, very decent and really efficient, but also they're trying to get Julian Alvarez. So, I mean, when you look at that, you can say the only place that he could have ended up is Liverpool. The only place he could have ended up is Liverpool. And looking at that Liverpool lineup, he has Jacquet, who's French, so he can be pally with him. But other than that, no one else. But I think this is an incredible signing for Liverpool. I do think that it elevates Liverpool, Liverpool's attack, because that looked extremely bare. As to what that means for Gakpo, because Liverpool are also trying to get Ismail Assar, it looks like to me that Gakpo is either going to end up at Man City or at Tottenham. But I think this is a level raiser for Liverpool. Now, what does that mean for the likes of Rio? That's a very good question, because we've seen Rio in pre-season playing on the right-hand side. We've seen Rio against Newcastle playing on the right-hand side. And it's mud, I have to say. I have to be honest. It's mud. It's concerning. It's not his position. He is not a right winger. So what does that do to Rio's development? But obviously I understand why Raiola would want Barcola, because in the end, you can't just wait for academy players or for young players to just develop. Some players, it will take them 5 years, 6 years, 7 years to develop. Who knows? Rio is really young. I think he's like 18 or something like that, or 17. I can't even remember. But Raiola hasn't got the time to allow Rio to develop. He needs results now. And after watching that game against Newcastle, where Liverpool were really, really, really lucky to get that draw in that last minute penalty by Szoboszlai, 100% they need reinforcements. 100% they need a forward line to improve. The only downside about Barcola that I see is what he is able to do when he is doubled up and tripled up. Like, listen, every single winger struggles when they're doubled up and tripled up. But the elite wingers, the wingers that go for 100 million plus, those wingers you expect to make a major difference when they're doubled up and tripled up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he adapts to that. How is he going to adapt to the fact that many teams against Liverpool are going to play a low block? How is he going to adapt? How is he going to adapt to the physicality of the game? I mean, people will argue, obviously, that the French league, and that's so funny. I just realized that I've got my washing behind me. But the French league is the closest league to the Premier League when it comes to physicality. So maybe he'll literally just find his place. Maybe he realizes, he just slots in perfectly. Who knows? Who knows? But that is to be seen. And 100 million for him, it's a lot of money. However, we are in an inflated market. an inflated market that was kick-started by Man City and was continued by Spurs. So, you know, can you really complain? Can you really have a moan about the sorts of money being splashed out from that perspective? And probably people are probably screaming that it's hypocritical, you know, from my perspective, from my side and from my perspective, to actually even mention that as a Spurs fan, because we have just splashed out 85 million on Fernandes, 85 million on Savio, 100 million on Tonali. So I can't even speak. I can't even speak, if you know what I mean. So, but I think that Barcola at Liverpool is a great signing. If Liverpool are able to keep Isak fit, maybe not for the whole season, because I can't remember the last time Isak was fit and was able to play 38 games or even 35 games, 30 games, I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats. But even if they're able to keep Isak fit up until Ekitike comes back, and that's another French player I forgot about. If they're able to keep him fit up until Ekitike returns from his injury, they have a good front three. If they're able to get Ismail Assar over the line, that's a very good front three. Isak or Ekitike, Barcola, Ismail Assar, or Minte, with McAllister, Soboslai, Vert in there, Gravenberch in the midfield. You got Munoz, you got Kerkers, who I don't rate, to be completely honest. Then you got Van Dijk, you got Xhaka. That is a good team. That is a very good team. And now you're starting to see a different team to what we've been used to for the past couple of games looking at Liverpool. So then it's a case of Iraola is over to you. And that's going to be interesting how Iraola really adapts to this, because he's now come from a team that played in transition. His Bournemouth team was a very, very good transition team. Incredibly good transition team. They, against smaller teams, they would hold the ball, but against the bigger teams, they will hit you and knock you back just like that. They had an incredible campaign last season. But how is he going to translate that into Liverpool? Liverpool, where the fan base will be expecting to dominate majority of the games, not just be hitting teams on transition. Liverpool, where the pressure is tenfold. That is going to be an interesting sight to behold. But guys, if you've made it up to here, please smash the like, subscribe, and look out for my video that's coming out tomorrow that I've done with George at Durock Diaries, looking at the season ahead and what our expectations should be and what our thoughts on the new signings, including Omar Mamouche. But peace.